When Uju was born, her mother left her at the hospital and never came back. Uju was taken to a care home, a place where children without parents stayed. She lived there with other children, and they became her friends. Uju always wondered why her mother left her, and it made her sad. As time passed, her mother got married. For many years, she was without a child. They wanted a child very much, but no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't have one. Uju's mother wished she had a baby, but no child was forthcoming. Uju left the care home when she got older. She didn't have a lot of money, so she started going out with different men. One day, she found out she was pregnant, but she wasn't sure who the father was. One of the men she had been with was very kind to her. He gave her money and promised to take care of her. Uju thought he might be the father of her baby. She decided to tell him that she wanted to live with him so they could take care of the baby together. When Uju told him this, he became worried. He said, "Uju, I cannot let you live with me. I already have a wife and it would cause problems." But Uju did not want to listen. She said, "I'm carrying your baby and I want us to be together." Finally, Uju moved into the man's house. She met a woman there and she was very surprised. The woman looked just like her and she felt something strange in her heart. The woman was the man's wife and she was Uju's long-lost mother. The man's wife asked her who she was looking for. Uju replied that she is pregnant for her husband and this is her new home. After much argument and disagreement between the man and his wife, she allowed Uju to stay for the sake of the unborn child. Few weeks has passed. The man's wife began to notice that this might be her daughter she abandoned. She summoned the courage to talk to Uju. She narrated her story. She said, "I'm so sorry for leaving you, Uju. I made a big mistake, and I've been searching for you for many years." But Uju shook her head and said, "No, I will never forgive you. You left me when I was a baby, and I will never forget that." Uju was very shocked. She couldn't believe that the man who got her pregnant was married to her own mother. She also couldn't believe that her mother who left her as a baby was living in the same house. After 9 months, Uju gave birth to a baby girl. She named her Ada, which means first daughter in Igbo, because Ada was the first real family Uju felt she had. When Uju held her baby for the first time, she promised herself that she would be a better mother than her own had been. She swore never to leave Ada, no matter what happened. Life was hard for Uju and her baby. She didn't have much money, and taking care of a baby was a lot of work. She decided not to have anything to do with her baby's father again. She began to sell some items in the market, like fruits and vegetables, to earn little money. Sometimes she had to work for very long hours while Ada stayed with a neighbor. Uju's mother tried to visit her and Ada many times. She would bring clothes and food for the baby, hoping that Uju would forgive her. She would stand at the door and beg, "Please, Uju, let me help you with Ada. I know I made a mistake, but I want to be part of your lives now." But every time, Uju would look at her mother and shake her head. She would say, "You were not there when I needed you, so I don't need you now." And she would close the door. Uju's heart was filled with hurt and anger. She couldn't forget the pain her mother caused her. One day, when Ada was about a year old, she felt very sick. She had a high fever, and Uju did not know what to do. She tried giving Ada some medicine, but the fever wouldn't go away. Uju rushed Ada to the hospital, holding her tight and praying that her baby would get better. At the hospital, Uju met her mother again. Her mother had heard about Ada's sickness and came to help. She sat beside Uju in the waiting room, holding her hand while they waited for the doctor to come out. Uju wanted to push her mother away, but she was too scared about Ada's health to argue. When the doctor came out, he said that Ada had malaria and needed to stay in the hospital for a few days to get better. Uju's mother offered to pay the hospital bills. And this time, Uju did not refuse. She stayed by Ada's bedside and her mother stayed too, bringing food and helping with the baby. After a few days, Ada began to smile again, and Uju was so relieved. She was grateful that her baby was better, but she was still confused about how to feel toward her mother. She still felt hurt, but she could see that her mother was trying to make things right. One night, while Ada slept, Uju's mother spoke softly to her. She said, "Uju, I know you can't forget what I did. I don't expect you to, but I want to be here for you and Ada now, as a grandmother. Even if you don't want me as a mother, I don't want to miss you any more time with you." Uju listened, but she didn't say anything. She knew her mother's words came from the heart, but she didn't know if she could trust her again. For now, all she wanted was to focus on Ada and give her the love she never had. As they left the hospital, Uju held Ada close and decided that she would take life one day at a time. She did not know if she would ever forgive her mother, but she knew that she would do whatever it takes to give Ada a good life. And maybe, just maybe, there was a small part of her heart that hoped things would get better, even if she wasn't ready to say it loud. On Ada's second birthday, Uju decided to do something she had never thought she would do. She decided to forgive her mother and her mother's husband. For so long, Uju held onto the pain and anger she felt because of what her mother had done. But she watched little Ada run around, laughing and playing with her friends. Uju realized that holding on to hurt was only making her life harder. So, that afternoon, Uju invited her mother and her husband to Ada's birthday party. It was a small party in the backyard with balloons, cakes, and a few of Ada's little friends. Uju's mother came with a big smile, carrying a wrapped present for Ada. Her husband was there too, looking nervous but hopeful. After the cake was cut and the children were busy playing, Uju took a deep breath and pulled her mother aside. She said, "I've been angry with you for so long, but I see that you have tried to make things right. I don't want to live with this anger anymore. I want to forgive you, and I hope we can start over again." Her mother's eyes was filled with tears, and she hugged Uju tightly. Uju's mother whispered, "Thank you, Uju. You don't know how much this means to me. I promise to be the best mother and grandmother that I can be." Uju also spoke to her mother's husband. He said he was very sorry for what happened between them and promised to respect her and Ada's space. Uju nodded and told him she had forgiven him too. They were not friends, but at least there was peace between them. After the party, Uju's mother had a surprise for her. She took Uju to a small shop in town and handed her the keys. "I know you have been struggling to make money," she said. "I used my savings to set up this beauty salon for you. You can run it and earn money for yourself and Ada. I just want to see you happy." Uju was shocked. She couldn't believe her mother had done this for her. The salon was small but beautiful, with chairs, mirrors, and everything she needed to start. Uju hugged her mother again, this time with a big smile on her face. With the help of her mother, Uju learned how to run the salon. She took a few courses, practiced braiding hair, fixing nails, and making women look beautiful. The salon started to attract customers, and soon, people in the neighborhood came to know Uju as the talented, friendly young woman who could make them look their best. Uju began to earn enough money to take care of herself and Ada comfortably. The salon brought Uju, her mother, and Ada closer together. Her mother would often come to shop to help with Ada, while Uju focused on her work. Sometimes, they would sit together after a long day, drinking tea and talking about everything they have missed over the years. Ada loved spending time with her grandmother, and she would sit on her lap while they told stories or watched cartoons. Uju saw how much Ada's face lit up when her grandmother was around, and it made her heart feel warm. She knew that even though they couldn't change the past, they could build a better future together. Life wasn't perfect, but it was much better than before. Uju, her mother, and her mother's husband found a way to live in peace. They weren't just a family because they shared blood. They were a family because they chose to forgive, to care, and to be there for one another. As the day went on, Uju realized that she was no longer carrying the heavy burden of anger in her heart. She felt lighter, happier, and more helpful for the future. And every time she looked at her smiling face, she knew that the decision to forgive had been the best gift she could give herself and her daughter. Thank you for watching, and God bless you. Kindly subscribe and share. Thank you.